Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here, welcome back to Stormgate Central and another casted game. So this is going to be the best of 5 of the most recent Alpha Navigators Cup, number 16 in fact, and we've got Mixu here playing as the Vanguard down in the bottom right in the blue, and then up in the top right we have msrm playing as the Infernals in the red. And already we see something very interesting in fact coming out of msrm. We see double Iron Vault. Now msrm, he's a pretty aggressive player. He loves to do this kind of thing. Infernal players you generally see be more macro orientated, I feel, so this is going to be very interesting to see how Mixu deals with this. But guys, is it not a breath of fresh air to finally get to see some Vanguard action here? And even some Infernal action. I think every game that I've casted so far of Stormgate since early access began has, I think, yeah, every single game has had a Celestial player in there. So it is kind of nice to not see the Celestials for once. They have been pretty well represented, I feel. Maybe some view them as the best faction in the game right now. But it's kind of refreshing to see a Vanguard versus Infernals here. And who better to show us than these two absolutely fantastic players here. So right now, Mixu is doing pretty standard stuff. Just going to be scouting around there with the doggo. He's got his barracks up, he's getting out a couple of lancers, and he's going to be going and taking this health camp, as we see most players doing. He may want to go into a mech bay and get some hedgehogs, although hedgehogs have seen a little bit of a nerf since the last patch, so maybe Mixu's kind of gone off of that. He was a big hedgehog enjoyer, maybe not so much anymore. But msrm is actually not going to be going for a super early rush. He's not splitting these and running his fiends across the map or anything like that. After all, we are on Isle of Dread here, guys, and this map is one of the larger ones, so not the best rushing map here, but I'm sure that we are going to see msrm wanting to use some of that aggression. Now, just because he's not running across the map straight away, that doesn't mean he's not going for some sort of a timing attack here. 3 minutes 50, around 4 minutes, and look at that, that is very interesting. The Nightfall infestation goes down, and he's going to be getting 5 fiends out of these creeps. And the Luminite, of course. So yeah, guys. 3 minutes 50, 4 minutes 10. That is sort of the time you can expect to see the player throwing up their expansion, if they're going to go for an expand. So that may well be a timing window that msrm is looking to hit. Or maybe even before that. Hold the phone, he's coming in here with, how many fiends is that? That's like 15 fiends. Probably checking down here to see if there's an expansion. There isn't one there. In fact, Mixu doesn't have one up yet. It is a little bit early. Nice little getting in the nook there by Mixu with the Lancers. He's really going to stop this attack in its tracks. Remember, the Lancers do line, they do damage in a line. They do splash damage, guys. So they're really going to clean up these fiends easily. In fact, I kind of question why msrm tried to take this fight here. I would have rather just gone for the run by and maybe gone to the Bobs. At the very least, you get a Bob overcharge that Mixu's going to have to commit to, and that's probably less resources, or less power, I should say, that he can spend on promote there. So the Hexen's going to teleport back home. Is he going to get away? Yes, he does. But there are a few fiends here being a pain, so I like this as well. Just keep them there. There's no need to really go and commit with them. But you can always be threatening this run by. So Mixu is actually just going to go and push up here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Lancers. And only really a handful of fiends, and, well, there are 3 brutes, so this should be able to deter that many Lancers, I think. Okay, double Conclave now coming out of msrm. He is throwing down his expansion here as well. In fact, it's just gotten up. So this pressure from Mixu really has to do something. Mixu hasn't gone out to expand himself yet. Oh, wait a minute. There he goes right now. Right on time there. Just shortly after 4:10, but he did have that extra attack on his base. Now let's see if he can get anything done with this. That is actually, that's 8 Lancers now and 2 dogs. So msrm really has to get over here quickly. There are 3 brutes now coming in to reinforce, but brutes really don't go toe-to-toe with Lancers that well, because once the brutes split here or they die and the fiends come out, the fiends just melt to Lancers. They really don't do any damage against them at all. They have this attenuation armor that will reduce the damage that they take. Where is it? It's called Fortified Impaler, in fact, now. They changed the name of it. It reduces all damage by 2. And since fiends do so little damage to begin with, well, it makes them do almost no damage at all. So interesting choice of targets here. He's actually going to go for the Shrine. The Lancers are just so tanky that they just don't want to go down here, man. The Shrine's on 100 HP. It is going to go down. And Mixu's going to deny this base, and he's just going to walk out of there. Like, Jesus. These Lancers are actually incredible. Look at those armored hulks of men. What is the HP for these guys here? Okay, we've got 120, 160. Like, some of them are on half HP right now, guys. It's a shame we can't actually see the health bars here in the observation. But I digress. Hopefully that's going to come in a later update down the line. Stormgate, of course, has a lot of updates coming for it. It is very, very early at the moment, but things are only going to get better. So Mixu, now having healed up, he's going to come and have another poke in here. I'm not sure I favour his odds now, though. This is a lot of brutes to be going up against. Bear in mind, guys, the brutes aren't quite as powerful as they used to be in the last patch. Or rather, not the last patch, but before early access, which was Frigate. They used to cost 150 Luminite, and therefore they had more health, they did more damage, so a force of this many brutes was a little bit more scary. Now they only cost 100 Luminite, they have less health, and they do slightly less damage. And where is my mouse going? Got a little bit out of control there. Machine Lab is now coming down with the mech bay for Mixu here, so he is going to be looking to get out some Atlases. Going to be starting with the Hedgehogs, though. There's been a little bit of a fiend run by there on the Ethereum, but no problem for Mixu. Doesn't even have to use the overcharge, and he's going to deny that of any kills. So new Shrine there comes down for msrm. What is going on with this? Why is the Shrine blue? Okay, it was blue. Did he just can't... Okay, the Greater Shrine is now finished. That was kind of weird. I think that's a bug in the observation client here as well. The Ritual Chamber is coming down now. But this is pretty late, man. I mean, you're going to want this very early in general to get your Gaunts up and running. You want to get those Plague Axes. You want to get Reaper's Rush. But this is very late. Big Battle Dog coming down now. But the Hedgehogs are out. And this is kind of weird, right? Because msrm, he doesn't have a single ranged unit. It's not too often that you see an Infernal player not go for any Gaunts. The Gaunts kind of feel like they are the backbone of your army, and you really don't have a choice but to get Gaunts. I mean, it's fine to go double Iron Conclave, I think, super early in the game and maybe go for some rush, but we are at 8 minutes now. And is there a Gaunt even out? There is no Gaunts, but there are a couple of Weavers. So I think msrm is kind of anticipating the Atlas play here from Mixu. He knows Mixu loves to play with Atlases. He also really likes to get out evacs as well and do things like Atlas drops. Oh, interesting. Maybe he's actually not going to be going for Atlases this time. I was wondering, there's no Hangar Bay, which is strange for Mixu if he's going to go Atlas, but he's actually going to be using the Machine Lab to upgrade either the Hedgehogs or the Vulcans here. Not sure if he actually has the Vulcan upgrade yet. A little bit more creeping here. Always a good idea, guys. You want to keep on top of these creep camps, especially the ones close to your base. They really do reward you with just so many resources and so much Luminite. So we saw this imp... Whoa, wait a second. Oh, this was insane, dude. I completely forgot that the Weavers can do that. So you throw down Shroud Stones. The Weavers actually have a new ability called Shroud Weave where they can teleport to any Shroud Stone. I totally forgot that existed in the game. So msrm here, trying to go for the teleport with the Weavers. And they just sort of came out of nowhere. That actually looked kind of funny. Nice pull on the Vulcan there, though. He is going to get that one. So whilst the Weavers aren't going to counter any Atlases, they do a great job against the Vulcans. But just by themselves, I'm not sure they're going to be good enough against the Lancers. So the Weavers, the way they attack, they do a certain percentage. I think it's 15% now of the target's HP. So very, very good against high HP targets. Not so great against lower HP targets. And GG, msrm is going to leave this game, and this one is going to go to Mixu as we move on to game number 2. Alrighty, guys, welcome to game 2. This one is going to be on Titan's Causeway. And this time, we actually have... Don't worry about the colours, by the way. It's kind of confusing, but we've got msrm now playing in the blue, down in the bottom left, and we've got Mixu up in the top right, playing in the red. So, just look at the names, don't worry about the colours. Sometimes when they play games, they switch colours. I'm not sure if this is them doing this in-game or it's something to do with the replays, but either way, it's not something to worry about. So this time we have a single Iron Vault. No, wait, take it back. We got double Iron Vault again, so msrm going to be going for the same sort of Fiend play here. I would say this map, it's kind of an interesting one. It's slightly smaller than the last map, but if you go and look in the middle here, this central Luminite turret, or tower, which is the only one, is cut off by trees, so you do need to take down the trees if you want to go for that. And also this passageway here is cut off by trees, and so is this one. So in the early game, unless you cut down trees, you have to go all the way around the edge of the map like this. A little bit similar to Jagged Moor, in fact. So whilst the map is smaller, the rush distance is actually pretty far. And Mixu, all he has to do really is set up a unit here and set up something down here, and he's going to see any incoming rush from msrm. So going with that health camp there once again, very, very standard stuff. And msrm is going to be doing likewise, choosing to go for these brutes. I think he's got to be one of the few Infernal players that I've really seen go for a double Iron Vault here and getting out the brutes and the fiends. Kind of interesting play from him there. Question is he going to stay on that tech for long enough? Because I feel like this really didn't work against Mixu. You know, Mixu just went for the mass lancers. Lancers just beat brutes. They're better than brutes. They beat fiends. So I'm sort of wondering... Oh, nice surround there, though, on this lancer. I think he is going to get this. But here you can just see how incredibly tanky they are. It's in fact almost gotten away, that lancer. Believe it or not, you would think a surround like that, it would go down super fast. But that lancer almost got away. They are just so incredibly good and trade so well with the fiends. Nightfall infestation again here on these creeps. So he is going to be getting some more fiends out. But I don't know, man. Are fiends really the answer to this? With the speed buff there, they are going to be able to run down these lancers, though, and get a nice surround again. So maybe this is the way. He needs to get out on the map nice and early. Get onto these creeping units of Mixu. Get those brutes in there dealing some proper heavy damage. That one's on 8 HP right now. About to go down. 2 lancers left here along with the 2 dogs. Now, the dogs, they will really melt to the fiends, so they do not want to get surrounded by them. But we've got creeps kind of getting into the tangle here, so... It's really interesting. Both players can actually use the creeps to sort of aggro onto the enemy player and almost gain them an advantage here. 4 lancers out now for Mixu. And it's maybe he thinks he can stand his ground with this. Not entirely sure whether this is enough to compete with the Infernal forces here. But the dogs come in. Nice pick on the Hexen there. There is a Skull of Shedder down on that particular scout. So if it does die, it is going to get a Fiend spawning there for msrm. This is kind of one of the slowest, like, fights I've ever seen. It's just these lumbering slow brutes and the lumbering slow lancers going at it. They're like, come back here, I'll bite your legs off. It kind of reminds me of the Monty Python scene, you know. Quick check here. We've got kinetic redirection coming down for Mixu. And msrm decides he's going to go and snipe this. This is one of the things the Fiends really excel at. They are insanely good for sniping buildings. And that's going to go down. He denies the upgrade there. That is actually pretty huge. The Biolab as well. You know, it only costs 100 Luminite, but it's one of the buildings in the game that takes quite a long time to construct. And meanwhile, back home, if we take a quick look at msrm's base, he's gotten a shrine up. He's gotten an expansion. So maybe I called this too soon, man. I mean, right now, the Fiends aren't doing much against the Lancers, but what he is doing is running circles around Mixu's army. He's not going to be able to kill the army with this, but he is able to get into the base and cause some trouble. He also popped one of the Bobo overcharges there, I can see. Interestingly, though, he has not reconstructed that biolab, so it looks like he's not going to bother pushing for that upgrade again. Otherwise, I think we would have seen Mixu do that instantaneously. And now we see the gaunts coming out. So we're at 5 minutes now, guys. This is a much earlier gaunt than we saw in the last game. In fact, last game we didn't see any gaunts at all. And the ritual chamber's down. Wait, does he have the plague axes? No plague axes yet. So plague axes can be researched straight away. Now, you don't actually need the greater shrine, although he is upgrading that. but it takes 90 seconds. But once you've got Greater Shrine, you can also go for Reaper's Rush, and that is huge. Gives the Gaunt 30% speed upgrade. It was a little bit nerfed. It used to be a 40% speed upgrade, but it's still really, really good. And once those Gaunts have both of the upgrades, they really, really can do a lot of work, especially once the numbers of them start to snowball. So X is coming in now. Great surround, though, from msrm here. Comes in, blocks all of the... Oh, this is absolutely beautiful. And the Nightfall Infestation here. I don't know how they got out of there. I guess they must have killed a couple of the Fiends and just somehow managed to get out. But now they're backed into a corner yet again. But just look at how tanky they are. It is absolutely insane how much punishment an Mixu can withstand. But with the Gaunts here in the back, they are going to finish those up. I'm not sure he quite managed to get all the Fiends he wanted out of them. I think the Nightfall Infestation did end there before he got the kills. So Biolab now coming down again. Double Mech Bay. So he is going to go for that kinetic redirection once again. And the Machine Lab as well. So probably seeing the exact same thing here out of Mixu. Starting off with some Hedgehogs. Possibly going into Vulcans again. I guess we'll see. I like what he's doing here with the dogs, though. Very little commitment in resources, but taking this Therium Tower is actually really, really big, especially when you're going for a heavy build that requires a lot of Therium. Couple of Magmadons now coming out for msrm, though. Reaper's Rush is now on the way. So he's gotten the Plague Axes out for the Gaunts here. Nice surround catch there on the Hedgehog. And he's also going to be coming up and denying these two dogs. So probably wants to split up these Fiends. The Fiends are probably even better than the Scouts for taking towers because they are just so cheap. You get them from infesting. You also get them from splitting your Brutes. So you can build a Brute, split them into two Fiends, and then, for example, send one to that tower and one to that tower. What is this, though? Sneaky, sneaky Shrine here in the corner from msrm. Is Mixu actually going to scout this? I'm not so sure. Right now, he's got an impending attack on his base with a couple of Magmadons. So he's got to be careful, man. Wait, how did he know that was there? Maybe he just scouted. Maybe he pinged with a dog. The dogs do have an ability called On the Hunt, I believe it's called. And it will show any units. I don't think it shows buildings, though. In any case, Mixu is going to catch that and shut it down. So no secret base for msrm this time. Mixu is doing an absolutely fantastic job of taking the map control here. The middle tower has gone to msrm. He's taking down his side of the trees. Mixu is just now going to contest that. So he says, hey, you're not having any towers this game, mate. I'm going to take absolutely everything. He's contesting on this side. He's even taking the observation tower right next to msrm's base. He's now going to come up and try and contest this. Big army, though. He's going to get a beautiful surround on the Lancers again. And this is really the drawback of the Lancers in the mid-game. They're so slow, they just can't move out of the way in time. And even once they get the kinetic redirection where they take damage and they get more movement speed, they're still way too slow against Fiends and Gaunts that have the Reaper's Rush upgrade. And that has finished now. So, again, Mixu moving down south here with some dogs and just making sure that msrm is going to have as few towers as possible. I like this move, though, putting down the meat farm here. You do actually need units to cap towers, but since the meat farm spawns these little fell hogs, it will always keep control of this tower unless it's killed, of course. There is a bunch of hedgehogs here, though, for Mixu. Gonna snipe down some of these Gaunts and get on this high ground. No, okay, he's gonna get out of there. msrm is charging in, and you don't want to get caught in that. Nano Swarm goes down on one of the hedgehogs here. There are no Repair-O-Matics, and now he's caught in a hard spot here. Oh, beautiful stomps there from the Magmadons go in, and all of these hedgehogs are going to go down. The Dobs try and get in there to do some repairs, but it's too late, man. Everything is just caught here. Shield goes down on the hedgehog, but this is just not going to be enough for Mixu here. The entire base is going to go down. One Vulcan does come out, but there's really no backbone to this army. All of the Lancers have died. And, you know, the Vulcans have started to pour out, but I'm afraid it's a little bit too late. And all the Bob workers are going to go down, and this is game, man. This one's going to go to msrm. By the looks of things. I mean, there's just no way you're coming back from this, right? The main is absolutely being swarmed right now. And look at all these fiends coming out of the bobs here. Is it not a beautiful sight to behold as an Infernal player? Not that I really play Infernals. And Mixu leaves the game there, so GG. msrm is going to take game number 2 and take this up to 1-1. Alrighty guys, here we are on map number 3. This is Boneyard. Mixu's down in the bottom left here, going to be building his barracks as normal. And msrm rather, not Mixu. He's the Vanguard player ghost. He's going to be building an Iron Vault, and is this going to be the second Iron Vault here as usual? Yes, it is. So no changes here for msrm. He's going to be going for that same play. It did work out for him in the last game, though. You know, I kind of look at this and wonder, okay, why did he win the second game and not the first game? I think he did a really great job getting those surrounds on Mixu. He really picked off the Lancers, and when it came down to the final fight, you know, the backbone, the spine of the army was left. The muscle was still there. But muscles without bones, they just kind of flop around and don't really do much. And that's what the Vulcans and the Hedgehogs were doing there. So let's see if something happens different this game. I think the rush distances here are definitely a little bit closer as well. You can really just make a beeline. He's going for this meat farm, though, up on the health camp, which I like. Also really translates well into getting an expansion a little bit later. So maybe we're not going to see any kind of crazy all-in here from msrm. I honestly expected more aggression from him because I know he's touted as this aggressive player, and that's the kind of thing we just expect to see out of him these days. But I think against Mixu, he just knows that Mixu is an incredibly great reactive player, right? If you rush Mixu, he knows so well how to defend against stuff. That's how he likes to play. He just likes to defend and see what you're doing. So 2 racks here coming down for Mixu. Pretty standard once again. He's not going to change anything. I think he feels, you know, good in his abilities to be able to take out msrm here and defend against whatever he's going to throw at him. So both players are really mirroring each other right now, going for the observation camps. Biolab comes down. This is a way earlier Biolab than we saw come down in the last game, so it's a questionable here. I mean, he's already got 4 workers on Ethereum, so I think this could be for Exos, guys. This is looking like a pretty standard 2 racks Exo play. Get Exos out nice and early, like a 1-base play. Go across the map. In fact, I've done a guide on this very build for the Vanguard recently, so if you guys want to check it out, you can do that. But it's not going to be that. Once again, Mixu shows that I have no idea what I'm talking about. He's actually moved one of the bobs now back onto the Luminite, and he's going to go for the kinetic redirection there for the Lancers. I guess he just really wants to get this out nice and early. Still, the kinetic redirection did not really stop Mixu in the last game. He got some really nice surrounds. There's that expansion I was talking about. So msrm isn't going to be doing anything super aggressive here. There are a lot of Lancers here, though. 5 Lancers and 2 Dogs, and only 2 Brutes and a few Fiends. This is not a fight that msrm wants to take here. Mixu's looking for a surround there against the cliff edge. Okay, hold on. More Brutes coming in now to reinforce. But still, I think this is a pretty formidable army from Mixu. I wouldn't really want to tangle with it, especially not with his micro skills. A lot of the Fiends are getting picked off here, and the Brutes have to be careful, man. Remember, guys, you can't really see it that well in game, but the Lancers do cleave damage. They kind of, like, swing their swords, and it hits targets in a line, so if you attack right here, it's going to hit this Brute. And that cleave damage adds up. So double Conclave is now out for msrm, and the Ritual Chamber is coming down as well, so he's probably going to be going for some Gaunts with the Plague Axes, and then eventually the Reaper's Rush. Mixu's looking to poke into the natural there, but msrm is ready. He's got the Gaunts, the Brutes in position. And these guys are not going to be able to do much. Nice Fiend run by coming in though now. Let's see if he gets some damage done with this. Is he going to go natural? He's going for the natural. Straight into the bob line here. Is he going to get the kills here? No overcharge coming out of Mixu. Some repairs going down on these bombs. You kind of can't see them because they're hidden behind the trees. Shield there on the Lancer as well. I think msrm wasn't paying attention. He really shouldn't have bothered going for that shield. They do have so much HP, but he only has gotten one bob so far, so really nice hold here by Mixu. He doesn't even bother overcharging at all. He's going to get a pick on this habitat. Or not. He's just going to leave it on 100 HP. I think he should have just finished that off and maybe lost one Fiend because of it. Plague Axe is coming out now. What has happened to Mixu? Has he really just not noticed that he's got a bunch of idle bobs here? I'm starting to think, like, has my replay paused or something? Oh, okay, my bad. There's a huge fight going over down here that I'm completely missing. I'm doing an awesome job, obviously, guys. msrm is actually doing a great job of utilizing this terrain here. So they've got these trees blocking in the middle. It's stopping surrounds. Really, both players are looking for surrounds. You know, Mixu's looking for surrounds on any brutes or gaunts that he can get his hands on. And once the kinetic redirection is out now, he's going to have a much easier time getting on top of the gaunts. But msrm is trying to do the same thing, really. He's trying to get some nice surrounds on a few of the Lancers. But there is just a bunch out there now. Double Mech Bay comes down once again, so if you would have told me I was watching game number 1 or 2 here, I would have believed you guys. Absolutely identical builds from both players. Third Shrine is now coming out as well. The Greater Shrine is out here, so I expect to see Reaper's Rush getting researched any second. It is not up as of yet. So, I sort of feel like Mixu's slowly starting to figure out msrm here. I think he realizes in the last game that he lost really because he didn't have the Lancers. He needs to hold on to as many as he can here. And I am interested to see if he can take this game, if he gets a sizable push with some Hedgehogs and some Vulcans, you know, maybe behind it there. But msrm is just being all over the place here. He's also being pretty aggressive, as he's known for. So, it seems like he's not really going to give Mixu the chance, to be honest with you. Right now, Mixu is slightly ahead on supply, though. So this could yet turn out to be in his favor. So Magmadon's now coming out for msrm as well. And they're going to be absolutely great against the Lancers. Once they get the upgraded trample, they will stun with it, so then they can sort of stun those Lancers as they go over them, and that's going to make the surround so much easier. Once the Fiends and the Brutes get the wraparound on them, those Lancers are going to start to fall like crazy. And really what you need against Lancers is some AoE damage as well. So this expansion is now up for msrm, and Mixu's actually going to end up falling behind in economy here if he doesn't get one of his own fairly soon. I feel like Infernals are kind of like Zerg from StarCraft though, like you want to be ahead really one base against the Vanguard, but not for too long, you know. The Vanguard can't just sit on 2 base for the whole game. Once this 3rd base really gets saturated, which it is becoming now, things start to get a little bit more dicey against an Infernal player like that. The army is going to start to grow. He's going to start to get out more Magmadons, and he's going to get the you know, classic Infernal death ball going. The Reaper's Rush is now out. And map control this game hasn't been really as great from Mixu's perspective. He does have this Luminite tower here, but he is letting msrm hold on to at least a few towers on his side of the map. There is, interestingly enough, an artillery camp here and one here, so you can actually take these and then do a push into this 3rd base here. That's quite a nice tactic if somebody has taken that base. At the moment, nobody has. Mixu looks like he wants to go, though, here, man. He's actually caught these Magmadons almost out of position without the rest of the army, so if he manages to get a couple of snipes here... Ooh, that Magmadon getting pretty low. Meanwhile, msrm... he's going to try and take out this 3rd here. So he wants to deny this, hold on to his own 3rd, and keep ahead. These Bobs are actually all going to get infested here and spawn a bunch of Fiends of their own. That is absolutely huge. And Mixu's going to retreat and come back and try and defend this. So msrm tucks tail here and runs out of the base. Where have all the brutes gone, though? I think a lot of the brutes have gone down, and now we've sort of got a reverse situation from last game, right? Where, okay, the Magmadons are now coming in, but last game, it was Mixu who didn't really have his meat shield. Now I feel like it's msrm who doesn't have his meat shield. There's only a couple of brutes here. He does have the Magmadons, and maybe he thinks those are enough, but if we some nice micro here from Mixu, he is managing to snipe off a lot of these Magmadons. There's only one left now. But he's actually going to come out on top in this engagement. Moves down here into the third, and I think this is actually going to be game for Mixu. There's nothing he can do to really defend this, and as I said, if he loses that third, that's got to be GG, man. The third here is completely saturated for msrm. Leaves a few units there to apply a little bit of pressure. Really good move from him. Carries on pressuring the main army so that it doesn't continue to grow. And the Atlases are finally out here for Mixu, but I think this may just be too little too late. This base is going to go down. Right now, there are Bobs just sort of running all over the place. I think these are misrallied. He's probably rallying from all of his command centers to this point here. But that base is completely sacked. And Mixu's left the game. So GG, msrm is going to go up 2-1. And we're going to be moving into game number 4. Alrighty guys, welcome back to game number 4. We're going to be playing on Lost Hope, which is the 4-player map, the only 4-player map indeed, of Stormgate. So we've got Mixu down here in the bottom left, and up in the top right. Sorry, the top left I should say. We have msrm. So we don't have cross spawns here. Mixu is going to go ahead and scout him. He's going to try and deny this imp here. I think this imp... Okay, that one... Oh, he's going to go double Iron Vault again. Not sure what this imp wanted to do here. Maybe he wanted to go down to the ramp and put that Iron Vault there. Or maybe just the meat farm. So, when you're playing this map, by the way, just FYI, there are only 2 places that your opponent can spawn in. They can either spawn top to bottom, so that's the case here, or they can spawn over on cross spawns here in the other corner of the map. So generally speaking, if you spawn like Mixu, it's best to scout up here, and then go and scout over there afterwards. Which, of course, is exactly what he's done. And msrm is going to be going for the exact same build here. Once again, he says, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I sort of feel like after that first game where he lost against Mixu because he didn't have the gaunts early enough, he realized that mistake and he said, okay, I'm going to get that Greater Shrine out a little bit earlier. I'm going to go ahead and get those upgrades that I need for the gaunts. And that's led to him winning so far. So I think it's really up to Mixu to try and do something different here. But we do see 2 Lancers coming out of him. He's going to start creeping, going for this health camp. By the way, guys, if you are enjoying the content here on the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Plenty more to come on Stormgate. We're going to be doing a lot of guides, casts, build orders, all that good stuff. So if you do enjoy the content here, make sure to subscribe. And as always, guys, thank you so much for your support so far. It's been insane. Really appreciate it. And I hope you guys enjoy the content. Oh, I like this from msrm. He knows he's going to be going for this health camp, so he comes down here, finishes that Lancer off. The first Lancer you get out there really does take a lot of damage from those 5 creeps. It's going to be very low. msrm knows that, and so he just moves out and picks that off. Really, really great move from him there. So double barracks again here from Mixu. It looks like he's at 92 Therium right now. So it looks like he's gathering the 100 Therium he needs for the kinetic redirection upgrade for the Lancers. So he's going to be doing the same thing again here. Oh, wait a minute. Now he's putting more Bobs on the Therium. Oh, great surround again. Like, msrm, he is just so good at this. Like, he just knows exactly where Mixu's going to be. He's going to be moving out to take this tower. He can just run down, and he's taking the speed camp here. So these fiends are actually faster. And he's just going to run straight in the main and try and get some picks on the buildings. I'm not sure he wants to tangle head-to-head with the Lancers there unless he can get the surround. But against overcharged Bobs now, that is going to come out. He does get a nice surround on this Lancer, though. Really, really nice here. And Mixu just does not have the number of Lancers that he needs to defend this. And Mixu is in big trouble here. He needs to throw down a sentry post or something and get that Lancer in there. Otherwise, I don't think he has any chance of defending this. This Bob overcharge is going to work for the meantime. But it's not going to last forever, guys. No sentry post has come down yet either for Mixu. So it seems he just wants to rely on pumping out Lancers from both of these barracks, and maybe that is going to be enough in the end here. I think he is just about going to manage to hold this. This is game point after all, so he really can't afford to just GG out of this one. He really has to try, but he is definitely behind right now. There's no two ways about it. MSRM's forces are starting to dwindle a little bit here. Send some fiends down back to the health camp. I can see that on the minimap. So he's only got these 4 brutes. And look at this again. MSRM coming in with the surround on this poor Lancer here. And he's actually getting healed by the health camp. So he's keeping the fiends alive. Oh, that's just absolutely beautiful. He's completely read Mixu here. He knows exactly what he's going to do with these Lancers, exactly where he's going to go. And I think Mixu going for the exact same build again here has kind of been the detriment. MSRM has reacted to this and changed up his build and knows exactly what Mixu's going to do. Is he going for the Greater Shrine back home? He's not going Greater Shrine. He does have 1 Conclave there. So it looks like he's just funneling more and more brutes and fiends across the map here. He wants to push his advantage, and he thinks he could just win this game right now, I think. So finally, a sentry post does come down here for Mixu in the expansion with the Buzzsaw Cannon. But that's not going to stop MSRM from going up into the main base. Is there one in the main base? There is not. The mech bay is now out, though, so we can get those hedgehogs. But this is looking dire right now for Mixu. Another Lancer goes down here. 4 Lancers versus 6 Brutes here and a Hexen. Those are not great odds. And he's going to go straight into the mineral line. He really does not want those hedgehogs to get out there. That would be a disaster for him. They will run rings around his brutes and start getting repaired by the bobs. But it actually looks like MSRM has stopped sending more units across the map. And all of a sudden, the number of brutes here is starting to dwindle. But Mixu's actually somehow managing to hold this off, dude. This is actually kind of crazy. This just shows how powerful Bobs can be and the defensive capabilities of the Vanguard. He does split those brutes at the last second there and get out of there with the Fiends. Gonna go and take out this Repair-O-Matic. Gotta kill that Bob first. The Bobs are actually pretty well armored, man. Like, even when they're not overcharged, they can take a considerable amount of damage and punishment from the Fiends there. Quick check. What is he doing back home? Another Conclave coming out. Ritual Chamber is here. The Plague Axes have started. We don't have a Greater Shrine yet. So all of this is a little bit late for MSRM because, of course, he's just been pushing and pushing and pushing, trying to get a kill here on Mixu. He wants to close this out quickly. He's 1 game up, so he can sort of afford to do that. But I think here, finally, he's decided, okay, let's not close it out super early. Let's not lose this game. Let's just sit back here, and we're going to take a 3rd. Meanwhile, Mixu doesn't even have a 2nd base. Just now, we've got hedgehogs coming out. Is there a hedgehog, in fact? There's 1 hedgehog out on the map. So it is going to take a miracle for Mixu to pull this one back. I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen Mixu go for any Atlas drops in any of the games. I feel like that's something that he really shines at. So maybe if he can get to that. He's going to get a little bit of creeping done here. You know, picking up some Luminite there along the way, but I don't know, dude. I don't know, man. So he takes this expansion instead of going for this one here. I guess he wants the Therium, right? Because he's going into mech play. And he's indeed looking to take this Therium tower as well. So that's exactly what he's doing. I do like the SimCity positioning here of the barracks. It's going to stop Fiends from running in there. He's probably going to place a habitat or something down there as well to further block that off. But this kind of leaves MSRM right now open to take all of the map control. Hellforge actually going down this time. So we are going to see a bit of a change. Reaper's Rush is now coming out. The Greater Forge has finished, so these gaunts are going to be very, very scary. And what we're most likely going to see out of MSRM here is he's going to get these Hellborn out. He's going to have the Reaper's Rush coming in at pretty much the same timing, and then he's going to go ahead and push this base. I'm not sure if MSRM knows of this base. We can't actually see vision for separate players yet in the Observer UI here, but I don't think he has any clue about that. He can assume, though, that Mixu has gotten a base. And indeed, now he's actually going and getting a second base here. So that has cost him a lot of resources. If we look at the supply, it's 108 to 51 right now in MSRM's favor. So Mixu has really sacrificed a lot to get these expansions up. But this army from MSRM is just looking scary, man. I mean, there are more Magmadons mixed in now. Going through the trees, though, instead here. A classic move on this map, of course. I guess he didn't bother going Hellborn after all. I forget you actually don't need the Hellforge to get the Hellborn. It's much more likely he's using that for... Yeah, he's getting the Demon Hoof Tremors here. The upgrade for the Magmadons that allow them to stomp and get some really nice stuns off on some units there. And Mixu is scrambling here with his Hedgehogs at the bottom of the ramp. He is trying his very best to defend against this with what little he has. But MSRM is just going to stomp straight in here and just kill Mixu. Down goes the main. The mech bay is going to go down as well. Nightfall Infestation coming out for MSRM. He's going to try and hold the ramp here as well he can, but nope, it's not going to happen. MSRM just storms straight down it. And I think it's safe to say, guys, this final is going to go to MSRM. Mixu drastically trying to hold on to this sentry post here, but it's not going to do any good. GG. Mixu leaves the game. Congratulations to MSRM on winning the America's Alpha Navigators Cup number 16. Hope you guys enjoyed the cast here on the channel. Let me know what kind of cast you would like to see. Would you like to see more Vanguard, Celestial, or Infernal? What do you think has been, lacking in that regard? Don't forget to subscribe for more Stormgate content. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Have a good one, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.